Hey everyone, so today we are going to be talking about autism, and we're going to be talking about what it's um, to have childhood autism, and did we know about our son um, with autism? Did we actually know that he had autism? And does it matter that I had my whole career working with children with autism? Should I really have noticed the signs of autism? So, yeah, the signs of autism. I think I have done a video about just making myself a coffee, and then we'll go and have a little chatter in the living room or the conservatory. We might do it in the conservatory. It's a little bit warmer, but and also I can put my coffee. So yes, I also need to hoover the carpet after this video. I would go outside, but it's really nice outside. Look, really nice, really sunny today. Right. Here we go. So the children and Daddy they have gone off to some woods today, and it's round about at 5 o'clock. So they've gone to some local woods, and I've stayed home just to do dinner and to hoover up a bit and to talk to you guys. So I haven't really done one of these long videos for a while. So I thought I would go into some details on how we felt as parents, knowing that there was something not quite right. So I'm going to tell you that journey today. So the twins was born on the 31st of July 2016, and I had trouble, with pregnancy. I had PCOS, and I basically had some fertility treatment, which was two types of drugs, and that helped me to get pregnant, and I'm really grateful for that. And and that was on the national health, so we didn't pay for it. I mean, if that didn't work, we would have had to gone through the proper IVF, and in Oxfordshire, because I was older than at 35, they wouldn't have done it, and so yeah, we would have had to pay, which clearly £5,000 around is really expensive. So I'm really grateful to the National Health and that. So yeah, and basically it was born healthy, and Matthew had jaundice, which is where the skin is very pale, and that. But other than that, he weighed 6 pounds 8, and Rebecca was 6 pounds 2, and yeah, they was perfect, and we took them home within. Because of Matthew's jaundice, we was staying in the hospital. We had a side room which was really nice, and literally, we decided Darren, on the day that on the 31st of July. It was meant to be in the morning, and they was going to get delivered because it was a pre-planned C-section. And a couple of days before, they said, "No, we really think that you should have a C-section because they have one have turned and is not the right way, and the other is the same. But also, if you do give birth kind of naturally, there may be a high chance that you will have a C-section." So I said, yeah, okay, let's just do the C-section. So we did, but because there was other emergencies and stuff like that, basically I ran like a down in the morning to say, look, um, they need you to come because I'm gonna give like a birth within like the next hour or so. And so like basically he drove from Bicester to Oxford, and which normally would take about half an hour, but he'd done it very, very fast, and that. And he got there, and I was still in the room. I was on the ward, a specialist ward, and like basically they said, "Oh, we're gonna have to delay it. We'll come back to you and stuff like that." So we waited and waited and waited, and it wasn't until the evening that they said, okay, at 6 o'clock, or like at 5 o'clock, they said in the next hour, hopefully you'll go down and we can get you all kind of ready and that. And so that's what we've done, and we had a little trouble getting started. So basically, they wanted to use this like a needle, not the I did have an epidural like in the end, but they wanted to do this other one, which wasn't a big needle in your back and stuff. And anyway, cut the long story like a short. I spent a good 2 hours down there, because like basically I went down at 6. I had to be prepared. They had to prepare the theatre and all that. Yeah, went down. Got into his new gowns and stuff, and I was all ready to go. And they said, okay, we're gonna give you this drug. It should like kick in, and I could still like feel like a lot. So they said, okay, this is not working. We're gonna have to do like epidural. Was that fine? And so they'd done that, but then they couldn't get this big needle in my back, and it was kind of like, right, you need to sit like this, and I was really cramped actually. And when they'd done it, it was painful. It was quite painful actually. And I thought, oh well, that's probably like the most pain I'm gonna be in. And anyway, I laid down, and like basically I could still like I feel like my legs, my toes, and I was meant to go numb, and nothing was working. So they gave me something else, and that so that I went all numb, and eventually I did, and because they had to use this like spray, and then it was cold, and I had to kind of say whether I could feel whether I could lift my legs or not and stuff like that. They needed to make sure that I couldn't feel like anything because they was going to cut me open, and I needed to not feel anything, and they did. They cut me open. I didn't really feel them cutting me open, but it was once it was open, they was pushing and pulling and stuff, and tugging, and that's what it felt like. So I can't. Those who've had a C-section, just comment below. Your kind of like experience and that. I would really like to know, because for me, it wasn't too bad. The actual like C-section of getting like the pins out and stuff, and it took a very long time because I had complications and that, and but in the end, yeah, it was they was out, and then I had to go to the recovery. The kids was okay. They done like the K injection and stuff like that, and they was absolutely fine. And I saw them, and a bit later on, what was it? I think it was later that evening or in the middle of the night they came to see whether they would latch on to me, and they didn't. And I had some breathing difficulties as well. For some reason my like oxygen or something wasn't quite right. And so I had a mask on, which was really strange, and that I really didn't like it. But they said I had to, you know, wear it. I was lacking oxygen and stuff, and probably due to um, the C-section and what my body had, you know, gone through. To be quite honest, my mind was so all over the place. I was so tired, and so anyway, the kids came in. There was like a next to me and stuff, but unfortunately, I couldn't really get to them when they was prime because of the C-section. And the recovery ward I was in for around about like 2 days, and I remember my parents come in and my husband's parents come in, and yeah, they was only meant to come in, not together, but you know, just my parents, and then but they all came in. They got told off, which was quite funny. And then I went up to the ward a few days later. In between that, they wanted me to get up and walk about and stuff like that. I had a major operation before whereby they literally they want you up and about so they can send you home. Um, so I had to have a shower, which was really hard to do. And Darren was, I can't remember where he was. I think it was in the morning, so he wasn't really about. He was at home and he was coming in and stuff. Then we went to the ward, and it was just like so noisy, and it just wasn't very nice. And because Matthew had jaundice as well, he was in like this like it was kind of like incubator with a light, and so he was in there for maybe a day or two or three. I remember that we was taken to the side room, which was really nice. I mean, so nice. It was a side room. It had a bed. It had a pull down like spare bed. Um, Matthew and Rebecca was there. They had a kitchen. They had a bathroom with a shower and stuff, and so everyone could come in and stuff, and there was a TV we could watch as well. It was like, you know, like a mini hotel. So it was really nice, and the staff there was really nice. However, they did say because I wanted, you know, Darren or someone to stay with me, that we would have to get up in the middle of the night. We, you know, their kind of nurse staff wouldn't really come in that much, and we agreed on that, and it was absolutely fine. Apart from this one night where I think it was Matthew, and this is the beginning of the story, but yeah, what happened was that he started to cry, and so we gave him, you know, some milk and that, and he was drinking that, but then he was still not happy. We checked his nappy, and he was still not happy, and we're just like, what's going on? And of course, woke Rebecca up, and she was crying, so I had to deal with that, and that was the start of where we are. Wow, I mean, they're nearly 4 now, and we are still surviving. So, no, the nurse came in and she said, "Oh, you know, you just need to pick them up and, you know, cuddle them and stuff." I was like, "Yes, we've been doing all that," and they're still not, you know, right. And you know, as a new mum, you know, you kind of like are feeling a bit like, oh, but anyway, we decided to, you know, ask for like a dummy, and they took to that dummy like, yeah, just like having a dummy. They was, you know, second on it. They was, you know, and they went back to sleep, and they had a dummy up until they was about 4 months old, and then they spat it out, and they didn't want it, and they haven't had a dummy since. Um, so we went home after, I think we was in there for about 7 days. I said 5 days, but it was 7. So car seats and that, and my mum came over and she helped us and stuff, and you know, I can't really. I wish I'd done YouTube back then because I would have done videos more in detail, but I remember thinking to myself, I watched all these videos they said about routine and stuff like that. We must get a routine, and so and it was one of those things whereby was I think we was just kind of going with it and just not knowing really what we were supposed to do. Now, before we left hospital, they showed us how to bath them, and eventually, I mean, I was the one who done it. Darren did as well, and I mean that came very, they had a bath. Was it once a week and stuff, and maybe sometimes more because they was always sick and so I couldn't drive for about 5-6 weeks. My mum came over a lot to help. She stayed for like the first week, and then Dan went back to work, and it was only in the mornings, like if he was, and he was working, a 7 till 3 shift. So he would go out to work, and he would bring the kids down, and then like in the Moses basket because I couldn't really carry then. And then after that, I would go back to sleep on the sofa, and they would wake up. I would have a bottle ready, for them, and usually I would do one at a time. And it got to the point where they both needed to be fed, and so it was a matter of trying to go, okay, which one should I do first? And it ended up just that I would do Rebecca kind of first, do her, then she would have a rest, and then I would do Matthew. Matthew had tongue tie, and it wasn't until later that, because he wasn't really drinking a lot of formula, and so from a very young age he had like feeding difficulties, and that, and they was worried, and then we found out later on that he had tongue tie, and that the only reason that we know because he was sucking the bottle. I think he might have been about 4 months old then, sucking the bottle so hard that eventually he broke his a part of his sin and that because he didn't have teeth. And we were so worried because he had a hernia as well, so his tummy button was sticking out and stuff, and so it was kind of weird because all these little things like the cord thing, what was it? Oh, and then he had the hernia, and I mean he didn't have a operation or nothing for that. That just went on its own, and so that was good. And we took him to A&E for his tongue tie. We didn't even know that he had tongue tie. We was told that he might have had it, and that's why. But at the time they couldn't really see, and it was so little that yeah. So the doctor did confirm that he had tongue tie, but because it was snip anyway, because he'd done it himself, it was nothing to worry about. So I had this book which was called what was it? Wonder Weeks, and it was really really good. But the trouble is where you compare is that you're always thinking, right, they should be doing this, they should be doing that, they should be rolling over by now, they should be crawling by now, they should be eating by now, and I wanted them to to do all these things, and they wasn't. So, and as a mum, you see all these other people, all these other parents, all these other mums and that, and we didn't do classes. I couldn't cope with that. Like after about 5 weeks, I got in the car, I took them to my mum's, and my mum and dad have been absolutely amazing, and what was it? And we had a lot of help. I had maybe 3 to 4 hours sleep, maybe 2 hours sleep And all this like rubbish about sleeping when they sleep. Well, I did do that, but like sometimes I didn't because I would want to watch something on TV, or I just couldn't get to sleep and that, or one was awake, and so yeah, it was just a nightmare, to be honest with you. So they was late at no sitting up. They was late at rolling actually. So rolling they was late at. Sitting up they didn't sit up for about. I think Rebecca sat up around about maybe 9 months, and that 10 months. Matthew was a bit later, and but Rebecca was more advanced than Matthew. So Matthew was born first, and then 2 minutes later Rebecca was, and like literally we yeah. So Rebecca done her rolling. Matthew didn't like tummy time, um, but we did it, and I did really think that he was going to do it, but then he didn't. And he got to about a year, and he still wasn't. He wasn't walking. He wasn't even crawling, and that's where we had some help and stuff. So so yeah, I think I'm gonna leave that there. So we've done the whole year. There will be a part two to this, which I'll probably do probably now, and it will come out after this one come out. And we'll be talking about when Matthew and Rebecca was about 1 up until now, and like how we felt as parents and stuff. But we was over the moon that we had twins, and I feel so blessed to have them, even though what was it, we've had some hard times, but some really really good times as well. So yeah, so thank you for watching everyone, and I will see you in the next video. Please like the video and comment below, and if you haven't already, please do subscribe to the channel. Thank you very much, and I will see you soon. Bye for now.